In this video, I'm going to talk about how do a supervisor monitor a session in Dynamics 365 Customer Service Omnichannel application. Now, what is monitor session? Now, monitor session means basically a supervisor can monitor the conversation happening between the agent and the customer. Now, supervisor can monitor existing conversation uh, and let me minimize the screen. Yeah. So it is basically used for assisting agents whose case has reached an unacceptable level of sentiment. So, take for example, if a customer is having a conversation with an agent, and agent is not able to resolve the issue, and the customer is getting, like say, uncomfortable talking to that agent, then it's a right time for supervisor to step in, and the supervisor can either transfer the conversation to some um, uh, knowledgeable agent, or maybe supervisor can take over that conversation, or maybe supervisor can consult the current agent and try to resolve the issue at the earliest. It's basically providing help to our agent to handle the case. Now, join consult with agent and join conversation. Now, there are two activities. One is supervisor can proactively monitor the conversation and join the conversation with the agent, or agent can request a consultation session with the supervisor. Now, the thing which you are talking about is monitor is basically proactive approach, where supervisor takes a step and then he or she joins the conversation, and then take over the conversation from agent if required. So, okay, so the settings basically is, like on the top you see the screen which is available to the supervisor. So supervisor can go into any of the queue and check what the conversation is happening between the agent, and then look into the sentiments. Okay, if the sentiment is showing you as very negative or slightly negative, then supervisor can start monitoring the conversation. And quite possible that if the conversation goes into a into downward direction, then supervisor can set up some notifications so that they receive a monitor request automatically, and then he, as you see, it's a very negative conversation happening, then the supervisor can join the consultation session with the agent. Okay, or maybe join the conversation itself. Now, these are two different buttons. One is join consult with agent, means supervisor will be acting as a consulting agent. uh, Join conversation means supervisor will take over the conversation completely, okay, from the agent. Okay, so let me show you in action how this thing works. So as you see over here, this is one of the conversation which is happening with a customer. Okay, so this is, let me go into, yeah, yeah. So the session is on. So I'm the agent, okay, and this is the, let me show you, this is the customer. Okay, so let me minimize the screen a bit and let me dock this, okay, so that it is always available. So this is the customer, so this is customer, and this is agent. Okay, so this is how we are chatting now currently, and maybe let's assume the conversation goes in a downward trajectory. Okay, then the sentiments will turn negative. Okay, so let me say poor service. Now see the sentiment over here, it will turn slightly negative, and then it might turn into very negative. And then what happens now, if I am a supervisor, now supervisor will receive a notification and say, hey, this sentiment is going downward. uh, you get a monitor request notification. Okay, so this is like an automated approach. Okay, so he'll click on monitor, and then supervisor can start monitoring this information, okay, in this particular area. So I'm a supervisor now. Okay, so this screen belongs to the supervisor, and supervisor can see what's happening between this conversation. Okay, now let me go into here. So supervisor is technically what the supervisor is doing is just monitoring the conversation. Let me minimize this. Let me maximize this. Yeah. So supervisor is basically monitoring the conversation. Now, the another way to monitor the conversation is basically to uh, go into the queue. Okay, as a supervisor, I'm in the queue, and then I click on the current record, and then I can click on monitor. Okay, so if I click on monitor, then what will happen is I will be able to uh, s- see the monitoring of those conversation. Okay, so monitoring of conversation initiated, and then you will be able to see what's happening between the agent and the uh, customer. Okay, now here, if you see in the screen is a bit minimized. Yeah, let me just get some room for the screen. Yeah. Now here I'm a supervisor. Okay, so this is that supervisor area, this part, and this is that agent conversation. Okay. Now, what if I go back to the agent over here? Now agent doesn't see anything. Okay, this is the customer. This is the agent. Now, as a supervisor, I can join the consultation session, or maybe I can take over the conversation. But I'll say I'll just join the consultation with the agent. Okay, so I click here. Now see what happens within the agent. The agent should also see one more window over here, and then agent, this what is the supervisor who is taking that, is providing some additional support. Okay, so the, and then supervisor can say, please give, and supervisor might say try to calm the customer by telling them that to give some gift voucher, and the agent will say, agent will start the conversation again with the customer, and the customer might say, okay, now the sentiments might turn from negative to slightly positive, and then the issue might get resolved. So basically what we have done is, like, an agent is not able to say resolve the issue with the customer, then rather than agent contacting the supervisor has started monitoring the queue, and then from there supervisor has come and started the consultation session with the agent. Okay, now once the resolution is provided, then supervisor can leave. Okay, can leave the conversation, and then the whole workflow is completed. So basically, it's all about the supervisor gets a chance to monitor the queue. Okay, so where the supervisor can monitor the queues, like they can go to home, and then go to omnichannel ongoing conversation dashboard, go into the relevant queue, and from here they can click on the record, which the chat is going on. So you can have tens of records over here. If there are 10 parallel chats going, you will see 10 different records. And from here they can selectively select a record and then start monitoring. The moment they start monitoring, okay, then they might receive a automated request that if the conversation goes in a downward trajectory, or maybe the conversation has a sentiment of negative or very negative, then supervisors can step in with the agent, and then they can amicably start that conversation resolution with the customer. So that's it, folks. This is all about the sessions, the consult session, which is basically triggered by the monitoring activity. Thank you.